Here tonight, New York African Film Festival opening night. What does this feel like?
It's fabulous. It feels really great. I'm very, very grateful to be here. I'm lucky to be here at this stage of the game. We shot my film in 1964, in December of 1964. We shot an interview, not intended to make a film. We did an interview. We asked Brother Malcom, who was visiting Paris, and he said yes, on the condition that you guys take me around Paris. I want to meet more African Americans. I want to meet dancers, students, So we did. We took him around. We made the film, we shot it with 16 millimeter Bolex. We got some footage, and the intention was just an interview. Well, turns out we asked a lot of very important questions. We asked him, of course, what's the role of the black man? Who is the black man? And he answered. He also referred to the role of women, black women, in the struggle for freedom over the ages. And particularly he spoke about the role of China in world affairs in Africa, because he was in fact coming back from a Pan-African conference which had been held in, I think, Cairo. And so we spent some time taking him around Paris, hanging out, asking foolish questions. At that point, I suppose, in a sense, we were at the first cell of the Organization of African American Unity, which he had formed. After he was assassinated, we now had this interview on our hands, very, very close, and we got some assistance in making a film out of it. And it was first shown in Leipzig, at the Leipzig International Film Festival, because the Vietnam War was still going on. Later on, when I came back to America in 1969, after having gone to Africa in 1966, the film was shown by Grove Press. It was distributed throughout the United States. It was first shown at Lincoln Center 1966. And by that time, of course, Brother Malcom was assassinated. But his wife saw that film at one of the first film festivals here. And over the years, it gets around internationally. As it turns out, I was a professor for 9 years at the State University of New York at Stony Brook, and that I accredit the fact that Brother Malcom inspired me, made me understand that you're not just here to hang around and to be. So we paid the dues, and now I consider this to be a moral obligation for the rest of my life, and that the film and very important things which he said. We asked Brother Malcom, as the interviewers, myself, Carlos Moore, and a filmmaker named John Taylor, Brother Malcom, who is the black man? A seminal question is that. He said, the black man in the West has been like a dead man, socially dead. But people don't say that anymore. But he said, we're seeking and fighting for a place in the sun, and we will never rest until that place is secure.
Zoey, what does it feel like, New York African Film Festival opening night?
The opening night is incredible. It's got a lot of fun and exciting people and fun and exciting outfits. And I'm excited to see the film.
Tell us about the film.
Well, my film is going to go up on Sunday at 1, The Fisherman. It's a comedy, heartwarming comedy set in Ghana, West Africa, about this aging traditional fisherman who goes out to sea one day and partners with a talking fish. They go on this crazy adventure. It's this buddy comedy, and it premiered at Venice Biennale Film Festival, and it won the Fellini Medal. So I'm excited to bring it to New York.
What reaction do you want from New York audiences?
Laughter. They just have to have fun. They just have to enjoy themselves, I hope. Comedies are tricky because there's an expectation that people will laugh, so when they don't, you feel like a failure, but I think it'll be funny. I think they're going to have fun.
And for people who want to know more about you, about your work, the film, where can they find you online?
You can follow the film at Fisherman, the Fisherman Film on Instagram or thefishermanfilm.com. You can follow my work, ZoeyMartinson.com.
Devin, you're here opening night at New York African Film Festival. What does that feel like, man?
It feels incredible. It really, really feels amazing. I love this festival, and the film was made, especially with the African diaspora in mind, so I'm really glad it could play here.
Tell us what the film is about.
It's about these two kids. One is from America and one is from Senegal. And the Senegalese student, he's an exchange student, and he's staying with this American family. And he's watching a bunch of international films. These two kids, they watch films together as a stream, on the TV. And they have to share the TV. And the little kid, he keeps on interrupting the Senegalese exchange student. And then afterwards, they have a discussion about what they watched and their perceptions about the world.
Sort of a cross-pollination of cultures kind of thing.
Yes, definitely cross-pollination, and a film that works within the African diaspora. But the main objective was to show just how Americans and anyone of the diaspora can relate to their heritage and to people on the continent just by spending time together. I think that really also speaks to the universality of people in general as they watch cinema. And there's a bunch of international films in the film. We do an adaptation of Cold War, which is a Polish film. So there's a bunch of different films that we pulled from for this movie.
Fantastic. And for people who want to know more about you and your work, where can they find you?
They can find me on Instagram at 5.Devin, DEVIN, POWELL. And then also my website, fiftheye.net, FIFTHEYE.net.
Zoey, you're here, New York African Film Festival, opening night. What does that feel like?
Very excited to be back in New York. New York feels like my home for film, and I studied here in Columbia, and so bringing my film here is extremely special. It's also very exciting because our last film, Botlale, screened at the New York Africa Film Festival in 2021, and we had such a wonderful response, and so we're kind of looking forward to like a similar thing again.
So tell us about the film.
It's a thriller. It's about a girl who, her name is Aluta, and she joins a gang of girls who rob rich men, so it's very simply pretty girls robbing rich men, but the twist is the girls don't know what her actual plan is.
And where did you film this? Was this filmed in Africa?
In Johannesburg, yeah.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it's set in Johannesburg, filmed in Johannesburg.
What do you expect from New York audiences?
Our last film that we screened here was well received. It was a comedy. It was called Real Estate Sisters on Netflix. It was a Netflix film, and everybody laughed throughout and at weird places. So this is a thriller, so I'm not really sure what to expect. But I think thriller dramas kind of hit home whoever it is, because humor is like subjective, but when the action's on, it's on.
All right, and where can we find out more about you, your work, the film?
You can find out more about me. My name is Zoey Ramushu. You can find me, I guess I'm on Wikipedia, I'm on social media, and our company's name is Totems, yeah.
Samir, we're back again at New York African Film Festival. This must feel like a homecoming for you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great to be back and with a completely different film.
So tell us what this one's about.
I don't want to spoil it a lot because it's short and it's a very abstract film, but I'd briefly say the film is about a young kid and his mother, and they're grieving the death of the grandma when the boy starts developing this weird habit of claiming to hear the voice of his grandma from inside her pregnant belly, which is, of course, complicates their relationship. And it's a film that blurs the line between grief, motherhood, and having to be a mother, to a son that you cannot care for.
For audiences, when they see it here in New York, what do you expect?
I would say it's a very A24-ish kind of film. So, and A24 here, it's like the base. So I think people are already familiar with the art house genre of horror and mixing it with drama. So I'm a bit excited for the audience and how they react here. especially that it's an Egyptian film and there's not so many horror Egyptian films anymore. So I think I'm excited, yeah.
All right, and for people who want to know more about you and your work, where can they find you online?
So I'm on Instagram and Vimeo. You can check my Instagram. It's Samir's Film. It's super easy. And it has everything there.
How does it feel to be here this evening, sir?
I'm happy. I'm happy all the time to be in New York because it's a very, very cosmopolitan city. And I like that. I'm also happy to be in this festival because 30 years ago, in the beginning of this festival, I participated. And it's great for me to come back again. And I feel I'm a part of this event. And to show black tea here is important. To the audience is here in New York. I'm happy.
What can you tell us about the film?
It's difficult to take about the movie. Black Teeth, maybe it's about love story between African girl and Chinese man. Happen in China. It's not usual for the people, and it's about the relation between Africa in China, and especially maybe to show like the movement of our world is changing. It's every time. Now Africa is very important and China is also very important. We must accept that and to see the movement of the people. A lot of Chinese people live in Africa, and also some African people come to China to make the business, to live there. It's interesting. This movie is open, and maybe give especially people from US from here to see what happens another place in the world. The world is very big.
Make us a little bit more worldly on this side of the planet.
Absolutely. The world is not only New York, Paris, Washington. The world is big, and Africa has a very, very important place in this world. It's not only poor continent. It's very rich and very strong culturally. It's important. Asia also. Asia is important. China is important. It's not necessary to fight with China. Fighting is never take something good. It's very important to be open.
How does it feel to be here, New York African Film Festival opening night?
I'm honored to be here because obviously this has been, for us, who've been always kind of looking on the other side of the pond, if we're coming from London, knowing about this festival, which has been going on for over 30 years, is, we're always excited about the program. Of course, the programming team, and coming to New York, of course, in the context of the Lincoln Center itself, it gives African cinema a space, a platform for to narrate these stories.
So tell us about your organization.
My organization, Film Africa, it's been a festival for African cinema which has been running for over 12 years, and it screens African films in October every year. And I'm in the process of organizing our next edition, which is going to be in October. It's based in London and supported by various institutions in London. We do a lot of things on African cinema, African literature, and African rights, African literature, African art, and African cinema.
So what do you think about films from the African diaspora being here in America in this day and age in 2025?
Well, it's important. I think that we consider all the films as the African stories based, if we could talk about historically, and these are Africans in diaspora. And then, of course, their films really have some kind of resonance about Africa, the presence of Africans movement, the Africans moving outside the continent, if you like, but they're still kind of tackling the same issues most of the time.
For tonight, you're going to be monitoring the talk with the director.
Yes.
What's your anticipation, how people react to the film?
Well, I'm just kind of curious to see how people kind of respond to that, because it's a very special film. It is about the city of Lagos. It's about people who live in it. And I think that what I always, when I saw it, I just thought, well, this is, it's a filmmaker who is tackling an issue about a city. Like Spike Lee talks about New York, or even Woody Allen, so that you find kind of a city like Lagos breathing in this film, which is going to be interesting. I'm curious to see what audiences would think about the film.
Fantastic. And for your organization, if people want to find out more, where can they find you guys online?
Well, it's filmafrica.org.uk.
So how does it feel and what does this mean to be opening New York African Film Festival?
I think it's fascinating to be opening the festival. It's the first time I'm opening the festival with this particular film, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the audience reaction is like to the film. So it's exciting to be here. I'm happy to be here.
What do you expect the reaction to be?
I'm curious to find out. I've always found out in several places we've shown the film, and I want to see what the reaction is like here in New York as well.
All right, thank you so much and good luck with it.
This is the BTRP Media Network.